we know that Zimbabwe has not opened that side of things. As you assess the interaction and sort of the effects that this has had, what are some of the interesting developments that you're seeing there?
Well, Paul, we're continuing to keep track of the people that are passing the border right now. Just had a brief conversation with this gentleman here who told us that there aren't really any job opportunities, so that is why they're crossing. As you can see there, this gentleman with the bicycle also using, carrying eggs back into Zimbabwe. But of course, the reason why the borders are open is also to stimulate the economy here in South Africa. But it seems there is, of course, this element where people are coming into the country illegally because Zimbabwe is still on lockdown. One of the sectors that we were told were going to benefit from the reopening of the borders was, of course, the tourism sector. I want us to come close and get a sense whether we can be able to speak to this gentleman, but we were told that the tourism sector is one of those sectors that was going to largely benefit from the reopening of, the borders. Some of the questions that are being asked by the people that are passing here on this border is what good it does when some Zimbabweans can't come into South Africa, what good it does for the economy when they can't travel within the African continent. I'm going to try to speak to this gentleman. Sir, thank you so much for your time. Just tell me why you're traveling. I see you're carrying eggs and, potatoes. So where are you coming from? Where are you taking this to?
Potatoes.
Where are you taking them to? Where are you coming from?
South Africa.
So is it easier to get them in South Africa than it is in Zimbabwe?
English.
Okay, all right. He's struggling to hear me there, but but essentially what we're getting from him is that he's coming from South Africa to get these potatoes and, of course, these eggs. But he'll be using, of course, this damaged border fence, which costs taxpayers millions and millions of rands. You will remember the SCOPA was here not so long ago. The Portfolio Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure coming here to also, oversee and see what has happened here. We understand that about 114 officials have since been suspended. The ministers head, a lot of organizations, or rather, portfolio committees calling for Patricia de Lille to take accountability for what has happened here, because seemingly there are no laws, and this, of course, has been described as substandard work.
Now, as we on these visuals of a man who is moving basic necessities like food, I mean eggs, he's carrying eggs from one end to the other, that really speaks to the how Zimbabwe is suffering. I mean, we know that it's suffering an inflation of more than 800%, and we know that the concerns have been expressed due to the impact of the deteriorating political and economic crisis. Let's talk a little bit about some of the pressing reasons that that fence has been destroyed to that degree.
All right, when we spoke to some of the, people that are crossing this border, and we're asking them about the reasons why a lot of people are crossing here, even when they're not allowed at the main border, they told us that the situation is quite worse in Zimbabwe, and that a lot of people are quite desperate, to get food and get jobs. What we're seeing, people also moving from Zimbabwe, which indicates perhaps the level of desperation that, has reached the people of Zimbabwe coming into the country. We haven't seen much when it comes to the people that are moving from South Africa to Zimbabwe, but these are people that are coming in for various reasons, including food and, of course, other basic necessities. So it seems at this point that Zimbabwe really faces tough economic times during the COVID-19 period. They rely heavily on the neighboring country, but of course there are those restrictive policies which many migration organizations have described as restrictive when it comes to allowing people to really come into South Africa through the legal system. You'll remember that not so long ago Parliament was signing, of course, into law the Border Management Authority, which allows one organization, one body, who will look at issues around law enforcement when it comes to the borders of the country and making sure that people are coming into the country. What this means essentially for COVID-19 regulations is that one can only wonder if government will be able to continue to track those numbers, because at this point Zimbabwe is sitting with something like 7,000 cases at the current moment, but we are not epidemiologists and can tell you really what that would mean for South Africa.
Very well, let's leave it there for now.